See. All right, cool. All right, we're live here. Hey guys, Periscope over here. I got Facebook Live. Actually, while we're starting this off, I'm gonna go ahead and pull Andy in here. Come in, Andy. So Andy Barninger here, everybody.
Hello, guys. I'm Andy.
Andy, you guys know Andy. Andy's like, well, he's a jack of all trades. But like all the cool content that we see, this guy's like my guy. He's our director of content, but also Andy's also a food scientist as well. And so one thing we're going to be doing is we're setting up a new food science lab. Actually, Andy's designing it, and that'll be in a few weeks. We'll be starting like the science of food. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so with the science of food, we're going to do something a little different than what everybody else does. So,
a lot of people. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're going to do a little bit more than just cooking. We're actually going to go a lot of detail into the science of cooking, kind of what goes on while you're cooking, substitutes for your favorite recipes. If you follow the Muscle PhD on Snapchat, you'll notice that he cooks all the time. But he'll take recipes that are normally higher carb and switch them, make them low carb, keto, higher protein. And that's a little bit of what we're going to be doing. We're going to show you what ingredients you can use to substitute and kind of make things happen in the kitchen. Just for that. We're going to do not only do sweet stuff, but of course savory foods, and look out for Muscle PhD recipe book in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so no one covers the science of food, and that's the thing. Like, where again, like they'll say, "Oh, here, use this recipe," but where we actually give the skill and the technique behind. Here's why you do it, so you can apply it to a lot of different things. We're not just about science and training; we're about science of everything, including food. So, thanks, Andy. Appreciate it. So Andy's going to be asking the questions. You guys ask the questions. We answer them here on Periscope, and also Muscle PhD Live is going on right now on Facebook Live on the Muscle PhD account. So we took, 4 or 5 questions, and we're going to answer those. So go ahead.
So starting with the very first question, Andre Bashiri, so this is an IG account, so don't scrutinize me for butchering your name, I apologize. Is carb cycling better than IFYM? IFYM, sorry.
So Andre, it
Yes.
looks like. So Andre asked the question: is carb cycling better than IFYM, right? If it fits your macros. Andre, good question, but it's kind of like, imagine right now that I had an apple in my hand, and then this hand I had an orange, and I tried to compare the two, right? So you can't really compare it to IFYM, like if it fits your macros and carb cycling are two different things. If it fits your macros, the general concept behind that is that as long as you hit your macros, it doesn't matter if I get it from Frosted Flakes or broccoli, as long as it fits my macros. So first off, it does matter, but that is a technique that can be used for fat loss. I'm just going to preface that with it does matter. Secondly, though, so we move past this, go to carb cycling. Carb cycling is an excellent technique. And tomorrow, if you tune in on Facebook Live, we'll talk about the science behind carb cycling. So good question, but again, apples and oranges.
So moving on to the next question. I am Sherry asks, compared to traditional cyclic keto, when you normally do a 2-day carb up, she wants to compare it versus a 1-day keto where you only carb up for about 6 hours. Kind of with that question, is the 1-day carb up better for sparing muscle than the 2-day carb up?
Okay, let's go to six. So guys, listen, we have our definitions. Ketogenic dieting, 75% of your diet is fat, 20% of it, 20-25% is protein, less than 10% is really carb, right? Cyclic ketogenic dieting, if you go to the original books, they would have you like do keto for 4 days and carb up for 3 days, okay? I can tell you right now, that's garbage. But now let's go to more of a traditional where it's like you go keto for 5 days, and you carb up for 2 days, and you're dieting. Our lab tested that. Ryan Lowry is working on the paper right now. Our team's working on the paper. We did test that out, and we presented that data. When you carb up for 5 days, when you go keto for 5 days and you carb up for 2, and you're dieting, we found you lost muscle because you never get a chance to keto adapt. And because of that, ketone levels never get high enough to spare muscle, so you lose a lot of muscle. So I Am Sherry is asking, what if I only carved up for 1 day? And what if I constrain that carb up to 6 hours? No one's tested that on a cyclic ketogenic diet. But I am going to say this. A 6-hour feeding period is what? It's intermittent fasting, okay? Studies do show that intermittent fasting allows you to get ketone levels up so that you're actually kind of in nutritional ketosis. So I Am Sherry, I would postulate, and it's got to be tested, that likely you'd be able to get right back into ketosis with that, and that would be a form of cyclic ketogenic dieting that likely would still spare muscle. So I don't know that cyclic's ideal, but if you were to choose one, doing an intermittent fast with ketogenic dieting would be good. All right, what do we got?
So Bento.Kelly, so I'm assuming Kelly Bento, asks, the efficacious dose of phosphatidylserine.
Okay, so Bento.Kelly, that's a really good question. First off, what's phosphatidylserine? It is efficacious at all, right? So phosphatidylserine, like the name suggests, is a phospholipid. And the cool thing about it is our lab actually did an experiment. If Jordan Joy, if you're watching this, actually Andy used to work with Jordan Joy. We did an experiment ourselves. Jordan Joy, we also teamed up with Ralph Yeager and Troy Hornberger, who's a world expert on phospholipids. So it's an area near and dear to our heart because we've actually tested this. We took all the fats you could think of, and we took muscle cells and we bathed them in these fats. And we found that that of all those fat, like phospholipids and fats, phosphatidylserine actually can stimulate protein synthesis. So it's anabolic, but on top of that, it buffers stress. And so phosphatidylserine is high in concentration in your brain. Like there's a lot of phospholipids in your brain. Phosphatidylserine is very high in concentration in your brain. So an efficacious dose, if you want to get an effect soon, is going to be like 1,200 milligrams. 1,200 milligrams. Now, if you load it for a long time, 250 to 500 milligrams a day over like a month should load into your brain and get an efficacious effect. Besides being anabolic, the main thing we know phosphatidylserine does is buffer stress. You're not as stressed. So like me, I don't, especially when I'm traveling a lot, I don't get a lot of sleep. Cortisol levels are going to be a lot higher. It buffers that. So again, over a long term, like a month, 400 or 500 milligrams, maybe 250, as low as 250. If you more want to get an effect within a week's time, probably like 1,200 milligrams. Good question. What's next?
Kyle IMD asks, should I count net carbs or overall carbs in my ketogenic diet?
All right, Kyle.IND.
No dot.
No, just Kyle IND?
Yes.
All right, Kyle IND asks, should I go net carbs or total carbs? To be honest, it's a really good question. Kyle, I'm going to tell you something right now. When we're talking about net carbs, okay, basically it's important to understand that we're cutting out we're not counting fiber, and that's what Kyle's talking about, which is real tricky if you're looking at protein bars, but that's a whole other topic. So if it's a true fiber, I would count net carbs, and I'll tell you why. You need to get fiber. So if you're just like, I gotta get 20 grams or 25 grams a day, and you're trying to lower everything, including fiber, that's a problem. Because fiber, when it goes to the large intestine, creates short-chain fatty acids, and those short-chain fatty acids are things like butyrate. And butyrate, is a fat. So you want to go net carbs and keep your gut healthy. So, yeah, so Andy's going to go ahead and read 2 live questions. Someone goes, can saturated fat impede fat loss even when you're keto? Great question. No. Saturated fat is not going to impede fat loss when you're keto. In fact, saturated fatty acids might enhance things like testosterone levels. It's not going to have negative health effects when your carbs are low. Great question. If anything, it'll be beneficial.
So, Tim Greslick, thoughts on myostatin and its reduction?
So, I'm guessing Tim is thinking about myostatin inhibitors.
Yeah.
Tim, listen, first off, myostatin is basically, think of it as like a control mechanism. Everyone hears about myostatin, okay? So basically when myostatin first came out, actually my old major professor gets cited all the time. I work with him a lot. I've looked at myostatin myself. Myostatin, think about it as a control regulator. It puts the brakes on being able to gain muscle. When we lift weights, we actually inhibit myostatin. That's part of the way we grow. If you take the brakes out, like if you knock the myostatin gene out, you grow uncontrollably. Look up like the Belgian blue bull. It's this jack bull or myostatin deficient dog. There's these dogs that are just like jack. I actually think that a lot of pro bodybuilders have some myostatin deficiencies. So the golden ticket is, can I target myostatin? One of my colleagues, Yuha Homi, has actually done that, and you see a lot of muscle growth when you have myostatin inhibitors. That's pharmacological. You're inhibiting it with pharmaceuticals. As far as supplements on the market, creatine actually inhibits myostatin. Actually, there's some data that like higher protein diets might somewhat lower myostatin. Obviously, it's not to crazy levels. And, we've done research on the supplement corticotropin. We just got a study published on it with Mike Roberts. And we did find that the receptor for myostatin was kind of inhibited with the corticotropin supplement. So, again, we need a lot more research on this topic, but certainly it's an area to look into. We'll take one more question.
Okay. One quick question. Santiago, we're going to answer that question on tomorrow's Periscope. Okay. So, what is the best advice to get back into ketosis following post-contest prep, chaos gorging on carbs when the cravings are running wild?
So, all right, who is this?
That one is Georgie.
Georgie. Last question. Georgie asks, if basically I come out of a contest and I binge, okay? Like all of us have gone on long diets and then like kind of binge, right? So if I go on a contest and I binge, how do I get back into ketosis? The answer to the question, I have really three parts to that. Number one, intermittent fasting, right? So constrain your feeding period to like a 4 to 8 hour period, so really 4 to 6 hours. That should get you back into ketosis within 1 to 2 days. Number two, glucose disposal agents like berberine. Berberine will lower blood glucose. And to be quite honest with you, exogenous ketones. Exogenous ketones will actually help you. They lower blood glucose, and they actually get ketone levels higher, so you don't feel horrible when you're going low carb. Guys, I appreciate you guys. I love you. Andy was just saying how much he loves you earlier. Tomorrow, same time? Same time, we're going to cover the Muscle PhD Academy, and it's on carb cycling. So we'll be back to answer all your questions. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow.